friends, my name is Lindsey and I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Today is one of my favorite videos to film, and that is my anticipated releases for part of the year. This is going to be for July through December because somehow we are already in June. As always, these years just fly by, but I am really excited about the books on this list. I actually have 18 books, and that might actually be a record in my 7 years of being on booktube. That's probably one of the higher numbers, at least, and so I'm really excited. I have a mix of clean fiction and Christian fiction, and then I have some that I'm not quite sure which genre they're going to lean to, but I've got it pretty split, and these are ones I am really excited about. And like always, this is kind of an honor to be on this list because I'm particular, if we can say it that way, and these are the ones that I'm going to make every effort to read around their release date, hopefully before the end of the year. These are the ones I'm really excited for. I could have included some other ones I'm interested in, but these are the ones I'm actually anticipating, so these are the ones I'm going to talk about today. My normal disclaimer for these anticipated releases video is that I haven't read any of these books, therefore I have no idea what the content is in them. This is not me recommending them. This is just me saying, hey, I'm really excited about these. I'm going to do my best to review them and read them around their release date, so I hope you can look forward to that as well. And hopefully we'll have a lot of good books on here. But this is not a recommendation, so just heads up on that. Starting off in July, I actually have the majority of the books are coming out in July, which is kind of funny, but the first one will be releasing on July 1st, and that is Here the Falling Snow by Shultz. It's about a woman who is at a baking retreat at a castle in Kentucky, which right there, that sounds fascinating, but she meets a man who is called to the mission field, and it looks like it's just going to be a very sweet romance, faith-filled. I'm really looking forward to reading it. Releasing on July 14th is City of Serpents by Christina Baehr, and I actually know nothing about this book. Why, you may ask? Because I haven't read book 3 yet. I was told that book 3 ends on a cliffhanger and you're going to want book 4 right away, so I haven't read book 3 yet. I'm waiting for this one to release, or at least get closer to the release date, and then I'll read book 3. Then I can read the back cover of book 4. I don't know what it's about though. I just know I've really been enjoying this series. Book 1 and book 2 were so much fun. This is a cozy fantasy series with dragons. Wait, let me rephrase that. It's a cozy historical fantasy series with dragons. Fantastic writing style, the vocabulary, just I've enjoyed so many things about this series. The covers are also stunning, so even though I don't have book 4's cover yet, I know it's going to be really pretty. So I'm looking forward to that one, but technically I have to read book 3 first. But I am still really looking forward to it. Releasing on July 15th is Where the Darkness Cannot Follow by A.M. Daylin. This cover intrigues me. I'm not gonna lie. The title, the cover, the back cover sounded really interesting. So interesting, in fact, that I backed it on Kickstarter, which I never do, but I have pretty high hopes for this one. This is a Christian fantasy. I think it's young adult, but I'm not sure if it is exactly or not. I think it is, because like the main characters are around 18. So I'm gonna call it YA. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but it sounds like there is an adventure and special powers and going on a quest to find somebody, and then that person's not who you think, and then there might be a little romance even, maybe, possibly, so I don't know. I really don't know too much about it. I've learned with fantasy books that sometimes I don't want to know too much going into it. Like, give me the main tropes or give me a very like one sentence summary and I'll read it. Like, just give me some buzzwords and I'm good to go. So I think that's more what I'm going to do with this one, but I will link the Goodreads link to all of these books down below so y'all can check out the descriptions. Also releasing on July 15th is A Royal Redemption by Melody Carlson. I read book 1 about this time last year and I enjoyed it. It is about 2 twin girls who are fighting for the crown, for the throne, to be the queen of the country. And it was really interesting. It kind of left though with not everything's wrapped up, and that was from the one twin's perspective. This we're getting kind of her evil sister's point of view, and I'm assuming a redemption, hence the title. So I'm looking forward to that one. Don't really need to know too much more about it. Releasing on July 16th is Meeting Her Match by Turano. This is book 3 in the Matchmakers trilogy, and I've really enjoyed books 1 and 2. Y'all heard me talk and rave about book 2, but I am really excited for this one because we've seen the main girl in those prior books, and it sounds like she's gotten into some trouble, and she has to go off into this small town and hiding, and I don't know why. In a historical setting, that just sounds so fascinating. So I'm just looking forward to it. I really don't need to know anything else. This author always has situations and humor that just make me laugh, and I'm just so looking forward to it. The final book coming out in July, my 6th book in July. Out of 18 books, 6 of them are in July. That's insanity. But the final one is releasing on the 31st, and that is A Stolen Heart by Selina or Gonzalez. Now, this is also one of the ones that I'm anticipating this one, but I haven't read the prior book. And typically I would not include those because there's books where I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in the series. Oh, book 2 is coming out. Should I talk about it or not when I haven't even read book 1? I don't typically, but in this case, I have read the first 2 books of this series, and I plan to read book 3 this month, hopefully, just before at least this 4th book comes out. But I have been told the back cover for book 4 has major spoilers for book 3, so I am trying to avoid reading about book 4 until I read book 3. But I am very interested in this one. I can't remember what it's a retelling of. It's a retelling of some fairy tale, I believe. I want to say it's the Goose Girl. Okay, I went down to the very bottom. It is, in fact, The Goose Girl, which isn't one of my favorite fairy tale retellings, I'm learning, but I'm still very interested. I've enjoyed the first 2 books in the series, and I really like this author's writing style, so looking forward to that one. That is clean fantasy. I just realized I was supposed to be listing off which ones were Christian fiction, which ones were clean fiction, and which ones I wasn't sure about. I don't think I did that with everything. Here the Falling Snow, Christian fiction. City of Serpents, clean fiction. Where the Darkness Cannot Follow, Christian fiction. A Royal Redemption, I feel like it leans more to the clean fiction side, probably based off of book 1, but that could change, I'm not sure. Meeting Her Match, Christian fiction. A Stolen Heart, clean fiction. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. For August, I have 3 books, and the first book coming out in August is releasing on the 1st and is my most anticipated release for the year, and that is Tracking Tilly by Janice Thompson. One of my favorite authors. I'm gonna have her on this list. This just sounds so cute. We've got bluebonnets and Indian paintbrushes on the cover, set in Texas, cozy mystery. I don't need to know anymore. I've had it pre-ordered for months. I'm so looking forward to it. That one will be Christian fiction. Now for this next one, I'm not sure if it's clean fiction or Christian fiction. I feel like it's probably going to lean more on the clean side. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. And that is Ignite by Swanson. I have attempted to read the back cover of this book so many times, and I have to be honest, I don't understand it. I don't understand, but sometimes my brain is just like, no, not gonna do that today. Not gonna understand words today. It happens. I keep attempting. I'm not quite sure. So honestly, I feel like I'm just gonna go into this book blindly, and that's okay, because look how cool the cover is. It's published by Enclave, which does clean fiction and then clean fiction that have some hints to Christianity, so I'm not sure which angle this book will go in, but I am very curious about it. Just the main part is, can the main girl, Mara, maybe is how you pronounce the name, survive in a world where the fire in her veins is worth killing for? In a frozen wasteland suffocating beneath a dying sun, she is a young phoenix raised by her father to explode at his command. See, I don't understand that, I gotta be honest, but I'm gonna read it. It's coming out August 20th, I'm gonna read it. Also releasing on August 20th is Target Acquired by Lynette Eason. This is book 2 in her new series. The first book actually released back in January, so I love that we're getting 2 books in the same series in 1 year. That just feels like a lovely gift, so I'm so excited about that. This is about Kinsey though, and she is actually on the SWAT team. We met her in the first book, and I'm just very intrigued by the whole SWAT law enforcement scene because I haven't read a lot of books with that. Like maybe they're former members, ex-SWAT or whatever, but I don't feel like I've read one where they're currently on the SWAT team, and I don't think I've read one where the main girl is on that team. So I'm very curious about learning about all of that, and I'm pretty sure it's not a serial killer. Well, it might be. You know, it could be. I'm gonna take that back. It potentially could be, but I don't really want to know too much about it. Again, I am one of those readers, so I'm just going to read it and probably really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, Target Acquired was Christian fiction, by the way. I keep forgetting to mention that. I have 2 books in September. The first one is Christian fiction. The second one is clean fiction. But to start us off for September, I have A Token of Love by Carrie Taransky. I have read many books by this author, and I have enjoyed them all so much. She writes very sweet and very wholesome faith moments and romances, which I just really, really enjoy. This one looks like it is also going to be a dual time period novel like her last one that was published last year, and I enjoyed that one. I think I enjoy books more when they're set primarily in one time period versus 2 time periods, but I'm still gonna read it. I have it on pre-order. Okay, I'll just read this first little bit. In 1885 London, Lillian embarks on a treacherous journey to reunite with her long-lost niece who was abandoned at a foundling hospital 8 years ago. Fueled by her sister's plea and armed with a golden token that identifies her niece, Lillian teams up with the investigative reporter to expose the grim reality of the shadowed streets of London. I feel like it's gonna make me cry, but I'm still gonna read it. Also releasing on September 3rd is So True a Love by Joanna Barker. Now, I have not read a book by this author yet, but that better change by the time this book comes out because I've been hearing such good things about her books and how lovely they are. I have so many of them on my physical TBR. I'm trying to be good about not buying as many books, but yeah, right. Funny, Lindsey. I know. So I do have a bunch of her books on my TBR, just not on my physical TBR. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm really looking forward to reading some of her books, but this one just sounds so interesting. It is a Regency book, and it's about a girl who becomes embroiled with a Bow Street runner investigation alongside a handsome officer. I don't know what is it about that right there that gets me, but I'm like, I'll read it. Sure, I'm good to go. And I just like the idea of like historical crimes and mysteries. I like that quite a bit, so I'm really looking forward to this one. For October, I have 2 books, and one of them is Spectres in the Glass House by Jamie Jo Wright. I make a face because I've never read a Jamie Jo Wright book. She writes Christian fiction, and from my understanding, there's always like kind of a explainable supernatural element, and it sounds creepy to me in some regard, so I'm half nervous about this book but half curious about it. I think I'm going to wait to hear what some friends think, because I for some reason I can do serial killer books in the Christian fiction world, but ghosts and specters and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't know about that part. And obviously it's not going to actually be that, but I am a little nervous. But this cover, the greenhouse, the glass house, oh, it's beautiful. So I'm just like, oh, and I'm not supposed to judge a book by its cover. I know. But if you were going to judge a book by its cover, look at this cover and judge it because it's beautiful. So I am nervous, but curious about it. I think I'm going to wait till I hear what some friends say about it first, but I am intrigued. Like the butterflies, what is it even about? Oh, that's right. She also does the dual time period novels. I own a couple of her books, but I haven't read them yet. So I feel like I might save this to be my first book by her, maybe. But it's set in 1921, and the main girl is an heiress to a brewing baron's empire in Wisconsin, and she seeks solace in the glass butterfly house. And I just think that will be very interesting. I'm not sure what the other time period is. I assume there's another time period because I think she's only ever written dual time period books. But I'm curious about this one. I'm curious, and it is partially because of the cover. Another Christian fiction book releasing in October is releasing on the 15th, and that is Tea with the Elephants by Robin Jones Gunn. Robin Jones Gunn has a new fiction book out. That's just exciting news as it is. I actually, though, have this book pre-ordered, but I haven't read the back cover because I saw comments and rumors that Katie from the Katie Weldon series, which is part of the Christy Miller and Friends world, she may be in this book, and I want no spoilers because I haven't read her books yet, but I think she's not the main girl. I know that much. She's not the main girl, but she could potentially be mentioned in it, and I don't want any spoilers for what Katie goes off and does after the Christy Miller series yet, so I have it pre-ordered. I know nothing about it, but it's Robin Jones Gunn, and I love how she does her faith content in her books, her characters. I'm just looking forward to it in general, and I'm trying to debate, can I read the whole Christy Miller and Friends series before this book releases? 4 months, 50 books, probably not, but it's an idea. Not maybe a good idea, but, well, no, it's a good idea, but it might not be a feasible idea. We'll see. So my last book that I actually know the date of is releasing in November, and then I have 4 other books. I'm not sure of the release dates yet, but for the November one, it is releasing on the 12th. And that is Unraveled by Shannon Messenger. This is going to be book 9.5 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. And I am half dreading, half hoping for this book. I think a lot of readers of this series are kind of like, okay, we've been at it for years. How long is this series going to go? And it sounded like there's going to be this book, and then the next book may release next November now. But I'm not overly excited about this book because it's not from the main girl's point of view. It's from one of her love interests' point of view when he ran off and made poor decisions in book 9, I think it was. So you apparently have to read this book, but it's going to be Keith, this guy, hanging out in our world and not in the fantasy world. And I feel like that could add some content in that I don't agree with because of my Christian faith. So I'm nervous about that one. I had the hardback pre-ordered, and I actually canceled the pre-order of that and pre-ordered the Kindle copy. So on that 12th, really the night of the 11th, as soon as it hits midnight, which technically makes it the 12th and not the 11th, I'm going to be staying up and reading it. I think that's already the plan. I'm nervous. I don't know. We'll see. Is anyone else nervous about that book? Because I'm a little concerned it's going to have things I don't personally agree with. So we'll see. So for ones I'm not sure of the dates, but are supposed to come out the last half of this year, the first one would be Falling Through the Black by A.E. Hendricks. This, I believe, is releasing in the fall. I actually did a thing and I backed the author's Kickstarter for this book. So I am looking forward to it. I read book 1 right before the cutoff of the Kickstarter. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm curious enough. I think I would like an early copy of book 2. And I don't really know what to say about this one. It is a clean sci-fi series, which I'm not really big into sci-fi because of the whole outer space thing. But I did find this one very interesting. It reminded me of elements of the Lunar Chronicles, and then it had, the first book had like circus elements and special powers and that kind of thing. And this second book I don't know too much about, besides it's about a new couple and people we heard about and met in the first book. So I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I think the covers for this series are really pretty, and I think it's a saga. So isn't a saga typically like a bunch of books in the series? So I don't know how long I'm gonna be like committed to this series, but I'm very curious about it. So yeah, that one's coming out sometime in the fall. Also releasing, I think sometime here towards the end of the year, is going to be the 5th and final book in the Secrets of Ormdale series by Christina Baehr. Book 4 is releasing in July. We talked about that a bit ago, but I believe I saw somewhere the author said that the series was going to be done this year. So I feel like that means book 5, as of then, was coming out here towards the end of the year. For some reason, December is sticking out in my head, but I don't know if that's right. That could totally be my brain making things up, but I believe it's coming out sometime towards the end of the year. So looking forward to that one. It's been a great series though. book 1 and book 2 I really enjoyed. Can't wait to read book 3, but I have to wait to read book 3 because that cliffhanger I've been told about, but definitely looking forward to it. The sequel to Drafted by Tommy Michelle, which was a clean dystopian series, is possibly coming out in November. The author said that they are aiming for that, but no promises. So I'm not going to take it as a promise, but I'm taking it as a very encouraging hope that we'll have the sequel, because that one didn't necessarily end in a massive cliffhanger, but if I had the next book, I would have read it right away. So looking forward to it. That was a really interesting, clean dystopian series. I need more dystopian books in my life, so I'm looking forward to book 2 whenever it releases. And then finally, the sequel to On the Wings of Ash and Dust by Brittany Wang. So the sequel is going to be On Wings of Fire and Fury. I believe that is coming out in the last couple months of the year. I feel like I saw the author mention somewhere The Hopes, but I can't tell you where that was, and I can't re-find it. Could totally be making it up as well. My brain is really bad about it. It finds information, it keeps that information, but it removes the source. Where did you get that, Lindsay? I don't know. So, don't know when that's coming out, but that was a clean fantasy series that had to deal with fairies and That kind of, it reminded me of like Pixie Hollow and the Lost Treasure. The Lost Treasure. The first book reminded me of that, and book 2 is a continuation, and I'm very curious how it's gonna go, because like book 1 could have been a standalone, but because of that epilogue or final chapter, it can't be. There's more gonna happen in this world, so I'm curious about that, and that is releasing, I believe, sometime this year. And there we go, y'all. Those are the 18 books I am really looking forward to. I have none for December that I know of, but some of these, not sure about the date, books could release in December. I don't know. Currently, these are the ones I am the most excited for. There might be some other ones that pop up as the year continues, and I'll have to talk about those in other videos. But for now, these are the 18 books I am really looking forward to. I think about 8 or 9 of them are Christian and the rest are clean, which I'm pretty satisfied that it's pretty split in half. I tried to find Christian fiction book information on like Baehr Bookhouse, their coming soon tab, but then a lot of the clean fiction are ones of series I've already been reading or watching, and then I also just see them on Instagram as well. So I just bookmark things in anticipation for this video, where I get to talk about my anticipated reads. So those are my anticipated releases. I would love to know if you are anticipating any books, which ones, tell me all about them in the comments. Do any of these sound good? I know I don't really ever read y'all the back cover. I stumble over words when I have to read them out loud like that, so I would prefer y'all to go read them and let me just tell you why I'm interested in them. Let these covers speak for themselves, and maybe my excitement can help as well. But I will link all the Goodreads links down below, or the publisher links, or whatever link I have. I don't have links for all of these yet, so like book 5 and the Secrets of the Ormdale series, that one isn't on Goodreads or anywhere yet. And then Drafted, the sequel to Drafted, I don't have a link to that. But elsewise, I will link all of the Goodreads or publisher links that I can, and y'all can go check those out, maybe add them to your own TBR, and I'd love to discuss them in the comments. Let me know which ones you're anticipating, if there's some other ones that you're anticipating. If you've read Jamie Jo Wright, what book would you suggest for the first book by her? I own The Curse of Misty Wayfair and Echoes Among the Stones, if that makes any difference. I think, though, I might wait for Spectres in the I may wait for Spectres in the Glass House to be my first one by her. I don't know yet. We'll see. But let me know all y'all's thoughts, comments below. We can discuss it there, and I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much for watching. I am Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there is a new review every Monday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday as well. And then I am also on Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads. We have a newsletter. I'm on all the many places, so we can just talk about books here, there, and everywhere. I hope you have an absolutely lovely rest of your day, y'all. Bye!